recording on the computer. We're rolling live with Derrick Gould. It's the Derrick Gould Show. No, actually, I called it Cougar Land. Maybe we'll roll with that. Maybe I'll change it. You thought that was aggressive? I don't know. I mean, the North 40 was Cougar Land. The high school in Villaggio was Cougar Land. The rest belonged to the Italians, right? And we were just written. Go ahead.
There's a few Italian Cougars out there.
So who have you seen since you left Italy? Like, how many guys have you run into?
I see Teddy Spittle quite often, probably once every year or two. Art King, I've seen him a few times. He lives here in Huntsville. Who have I seen? Saw Mike Crenshaw a couple years ago when I'm visiting him in Dallas area. Hell.
It's a lot to remember. It's like 30 years. Boom.
30, yeah, it's 35.
Did you make it to any of the reunions, or?
I went to one in Houston, so 20-some years ago.
Yeah, you just usually hit one, and it's like Woodstock, and you're not like running back, right?
Well, with Facebook, it's a lot easier to keep up with classmates, and other social media.
Well, I was doing one of these with my sailor buddies because I was in the Navy, so everybody on my ship, and we had some good ones. But the Vicenza thing is so unique. I go, the Navy's cool, but how did I get to the Navy? Because I grew up in a military environment. If I grew up as a civilian in the States, who knows, man? Maybe I would have worked at, Macy's putting in washer and dryers. Who knows? I mean, you never know. You get that perspective from Europe, right?
It could be a Macy's. It could be the Macy's podcast.
Yeah, the Macy's washer and dryer podcast. But
that's a niche market right there.
Let me ask you. So, how old were you when you first went overseas, like to Italy or Germany?
I was probably 4 or 5 my first time. Family moved to Heidelberg, so I did. I guess kindergarten, first, second, third, something like that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, before I was in school, I was in Heidelberg, and then I did kindergarten. I don't know, long time ago. First, second, and third grade in Heidelberg. Went to Fort Bragg for 3 years. Went back to Heidelberg for middle school, 7th and 8th grade, and then from there to Vicenza. So pretty much K through 12, 13, because I spent my first year of college in Munich.
Yeah, that was a trip because my dad, we get stationed in where was it, Bitburg, at Spangdahlem Air Force Base up in Germany. Mm-hmm. And we're there, and I'm like, huh? And my dad gets a call. I'm 3 years old. At 5 years old, he gets a call, and they go, "Hey, we need a coach." And he's like, "Is it warm down there?" Because he was tired of the German weather. And they're like, "Yeah, it's sunny." He's like, "I'll be there." And all of a sudden, we packed up the Volvo and rolled up to Vicenza. Man, it was a trip. I think 72. I got there.
Okay, I got there in 79.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was in middle school in Heidelberg, 77, 79.
Yeah,
so,
I got there, and they still had dormitories for the students from Verona.
Yeah, they were still there when I was there.
Were they still there?
Yeah, there was a few folks. Donald Free. Remember Donald Free?
Yeah.
He was there. Barry Williams. Who else? Wavitra? No. Was he in the dorm? I don't remember. There was probably 8 or 10, 12.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It was like a private school, and everyone else got to go home. And, later the kids became big Verona, like train commuters. That was their deal.
No, actually, it's funny you say that because you're right. That was most of the folks that were in the dorms when I was there weren't Verona.
Okay.
Because it was other outliers that were out further out at different sites. So.
Well, it's interesting. So you get there. What was your first impression of Italy after leaving Germany? I mean, were you just going, "Oh yeah, pizza," or what was your thing?
Well, it was strange because my family dynamics were a little screwy. My parents had just divorced, sent my mom home. My dad had sort of remarried. You know how that works. And my brother moved down earlier than I did with my dad. When school was out like May or June. And I stayed in Heidelberg with my girlfriend as an 8th grader. You know how that works.
Wow, you were way cool. You were way
yeah,
cool.
I stayed there for a couple months, and or a month or two. Anyway, so I ended up going down to Vicenza right before the July 4th carnival.
Oh yeah, that carnival on the North 40, huh?
Yeah, the first person I met when I got to Vicenza was Rika Tamura.
Okay.
Remember Rika and Ron?
Yeah, Ron was in the Boy Scouts with me.
Right. Rika was the first person I met when I got there, and then because my brother had been there for a little bit, and he was a little bit different than I was. He had his group, and I had mine. But yeah, it was It was very different because my European experience as an Army brat was 3 tours in Germany, and if you've been to Germany, it's a completely different culture. A lot more Americanized, if you will, Western. I don't know. Real clean, real clean. Everybody obeys the laws. You get down to Italy, and it's like, the laws are fine. Whatever, traffic.
Well, Italy didn't have the burger joints. Germany had a little bit more of America. You want a McDonald's, you want a Burger King, they had it.
Yeah, there was one hamburger joint downtown that we found, and it was I forgot what they called it, but they had American hamburgers, and it was as close as you're going to find.
It didn't taste like them, though. I mean, you probably get a better burger at the snack bar at the time. But that was yes. Over in I think that was near September's Bar. That's the one. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, why do high school kids no bars?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Because we can. Because we can. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that had a lot to do with the way you handled yourself. Everybody went out drinking. Not everybody, but it was so normal.
Right.
It was so normal. I mean, I don't know. Your dad was involved with this one, but my 11th grade year, I guess. Yeah, my junior year, we were down in Rome playing basketball. Went out to dinner, just on our own. Yeah, everybody goes out on their own, and we went out to a restaurant, had pizza. And I got kicked off the basketball team later on that weekend because I had beer.
Goodness. Oh, because you had beer. Was that the time? That was NDI, right? Rome, the private school.
Right. Yeah.
So, what year did you graduate?
I graduated in '83, so that would have been '82.
So was Kamaki with you on that one? The Hawaiian kid.
No, I don't remember Kamaki that played with us. No.
Well, he's. I talked to him recently. He's in Hawaii, but he was a skateboarding superstar, and he apparently skateboarded to a glass wall while he was there, to play basketball. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that would happen from time to time. Yeah. I was like, was it that trip? Because I don't remember them all.
I don't either, and there's probably good reason why I don't remember them all. But I do remember they had beer vending machines in Livorno, Camp Darby. They had beer vending machines that were quite handy on post.
Same in Naples. Yeah. We went to Naples. I ended up joining the Navy, but first I looked at the Navy. I go, why is the Army so squared away? The Navy just seems like a bunch of groovy wild men that get off a boat and just party. I don't know. They just didn't have the order. They didn't have the same order as the Army did. There was a tighter, stricter kind of guideline. And you go down there and, whether you're in Sigonella or you were at, Naples over on the base, vending machines, we love those things, Yeah,
well, you spend, 6 months with 1,200 dudes on a boat.
Oh, yeah. That's what happens. What happens. So we were talking about this other day. You ended up, you now work in MWR, so that's all the recreational stuff for the military, all their,
right.
Whether it be travel, gyms, group things, tickets, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
What your dad was doing, right?
No, he was in the military. He was a soldier.
Oh, he was a soldier? Okay.
He was a warrant officer. He was a signal officer.
Okay.
But he was involved in sports because he was an umpire and referee, that type of stuff. And I got into that as well when I was in Italy. I actually refereed the Italian pro football leagues for a couple of years when I was in high school, and then then after, and I coached in Bolzano. I helped the Bolzano Giants back in '83, '84. I coached when I was in Munich.
Did you know Bobby Davis? Did you know?
Man, as a matter of fact, I did. My wife asked me if you knew him because I went and saw Bobby when I saw Crenshaw a couple years ago, because I had some friends in Austin, and I found out Bobby was in Austin, so I actually knocked on his door. He looked at me like, "Who in the hell is this?" took him a couple seconds. I went to the restaurant where he's working, like, no, he's off today. But the guy was like, here's where he lives. So, a friend of mine, family friend, we went and knocked on his door. Man, it was funny. But Bobby Davis was probably the best football player I'd ever seen in person.
Yeah,
one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Honestly,
he was a great guy. I mean, I just messaged with him here and there, but I know he was a big star for the Italian Football League, and it was interesting.
In Verona and Rome and a couple other places. Yeah.
So he had the life of Riley for a while, but then as time goes, that league is not substantiating. I mean, when you're a kid, oh, he's a pro, but that doesn't mean there's pro ping pong players that probably don't make that much,
Correct. Yeah, you can live on it, but you don't live. I mean, well, it's hell, they paid me pretty well as a coach.
Really?
And I just, I take the train down on the weekends from Munich and spend the weekends in Bolzano with the guys and help them coach and go back home. I mean, it was, they gave me, a couple $300 or $400 every now and then. And that's a lot of money for a college kid.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Munich was a place where I thought the lucky kids get to go. You're going to go to college in the States. Oh, we could have the Fort Lauderdale party or whatever, all the traditional stuff. Or you could go to University of Maryland in Munich that has the Oktoberfest. And you know why you're going.
Well, let me tell you something. I spent 9 months there. Okay. And don't get me wrong. I went to school as a student. I was going to do 2 years, but I saw myself in that big spiral. The toilet bowl was going down.
Oh yeah.
I said, so let me check out, and I did. I was like, 1 year was good.
Wow.
Because it was too easy. It was way more fun than it should have been.
It happened to most of my friends that went there. They were not too many 2-year guys, 2-year gals that really finished that place out. I mean,
in fact, when I was there, I was after graduation, so the fall of '83, spring of '84, kind of. There were guys that were on their 6th, 7th, and 8th year at a 2-year school,
getting a PhD and an AA. Yeah,
they were the good ones to know, though. They knew where everything was. Yeah, it was good, but yeah, a year was enough for me.
Wow.
My family history. I had to get
out. Listen, I had to get out of Italy. I get in my own troubles, man. I was doing, I wasn't exactly your A student. I could have been, but I chose not to be. And it's okay. You have my brother, I think, carried the line more than me. He was more the coach's son. I was the coach's son that's not playing on the team. So,
was he older or younger than you?
He was 3 years younger, Sean. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Again, long ago.
Well, I mean, you didn't have too many paths to popularity. You were either popular because you're always in trouble, you were popular because you were an honor roll student, or you were popular because you were the prom king or queen, or what were you doing? You were basically on the team. You were a jock.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, even in the small little world we lived in, there were little niche places to be a part of. And that's what was one of the nice things about going to a small school overseas like that was, when you go and you get, like, I remember going to theater, watching the school plays, and there were people I went to school with that were, the jocks and but they just did that because it was fun. So it was kind of neat to see.
Well, you illustrate an interesting point. I mean, who's going to see school plays in the world of the internet? They probably go to school plays staring at their phone, flipping, swiping, TikTok and liking, whatever they're doing. And we didn't have the internet. I think that's the biggest point. I get there in 72. You get there in 79. We had one television channel, SEB, and I get a chance to work there, and I had to edit out the commercials. I craved commercials, man. Like show me some
Funny.
Kellogg's. It was, what a weird thing to miss. Like I miss being manipulated. So, you know, Italy had 3 channels, right? Uno, due, tre. They didn't have much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
television was not a big sport for us, you know?
No, you're right. I remember in Germany when I was there before AFN, probably around the same time you were in Italy, we had the things we watched were Pink Panther, because there was they didn't speak. It was just Pink Panther. And then Sesame Street was on German TV. Other than that, and it was in English. So other than that, it was Pink Panther with no dialogue, or Sesame Street in English, or Snow, you know, or the Cheese Channel, you know.
I can't imagine that. I mean, you know, a German version of Big Brother. Oh, what are you doing, Kermit? Yeah, I just, it's the Cookie Monster. He's going to eat you.
But the next time we went back was, I guess, in 74. No, I don't know. Oh, shit. It's a long time.
The time I was there.
AFN came around, you had one channel.
Yeah.
It was, you know. And then when I was back there from 97 to 05 in Europe, there was satellite, obviously, and you got, what, 4 or 5 channels, I think?
That was living back then.
Yeah. When I was in Germany, I was there 3 different times. One of the times I had a bootleg satellite dish from I bought off I had a newspaper. It was I didn't know it was illegal, but I had this bootleg satellite dish. So I got TV from all over the world. It was kind of neat. But I found out, you know, there's an article in the paper about these bootleg illegal satellite dish. I'm like, well, I should probably take that down.
Like, that's a big rule break over there, right? You know, well, I mean, talking about, you know, because this, I'm talking about media because this is how we spend our time. I mean, I'm there from 5 years old to 19. I had a lot of boring years, learned to speak Italian because that's all that was on TV. But the first cartoon I watched was Popeye, and he spoke English, and then Popeye spoke Italian. Well, I later became a sailor that could speak Italian, which is weird because of that damn cartoon. I mean,
there you go.
There it is. It was written for me. That was my business plan, you know.
We'll call you Popeye. That'll work. You've been called worse, I'm sure.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
but it's funny. Like, I try to get everybody to do this. They will once they see this, because they're like, "Oh yeah, he's reminding me of that," because this takes you back. It's so good to dig this part of our brain of that time.
Oh, you know? I'm telling you, Lenny, when I mean, you contacted me because I put some stuff on Facebook the other day. I mean, I'm telling you, I was just digging through files looking for something. I was looking for passports and marriage license, those type of things to put in a fireproof box, just, you know, because I'm kind of a nerd sometimes. And I got to looking through files. I'm like, what is all this? It's like an old Cougar saying that, you know, and I have some other stuff in there. I'm like, wait a minute. So what was supposed to take me, you know, 15 minutes to do, 4 hours later, I'm looking through stuff. And I'm like, you know, going through yearbooks I found. I'm like, wait a minute, I got to get out of here. So, but it does. It just, there's something inside that just, you can't stop it. You can't help. You see something and you just keep going, you keep digging and keep going and find new stuff, and memories keep popping up, and your brain's on zinging everywhere, and it's all good stuff. Oh, I'm going to tell you, I saw Chris Cavoli.
Chris Cavoli?
I did see Chris about maybe 4 months ago. He came through. He had a meeting on Redstone, so we hooked up and spent an hour and a half together before his handlers had to take him away. You know how it works.
You get the general in your hand there, right?
Yeah. So that was very, very interesting. He's a very impressive guy, but you know, he had his guys, his handlers, literally go, "How do you know the boss? How do you know the boss?" Well, you know, Chris for 40 years, and you know, so it was good. We got away from his people. We walked, we talked. It was just Derrick and Chris talking. Very, very nice to catch up. You know, we've been emailing over the years. We keep up with each other. I mean, he's easy to trace.
Probably refreshing for him to get that moment. You know, I've been around a lot of people that were high profile, and the biggest thing they want, whether it be from the music or acting or sports world, is they want some time to be who they were, not who they are now. You know,
it was awesome. It was fantastic. It really was. Yeah, just to get away.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, you realize, I mean, I started looking at it and like my algorithm was running. I'm looking at Facebook. I'm going general, admiral, general. I'm like, wow. You know, Vicenza turned out the leadership of the military currently. I mean, we're at the age.
was it Diane Del Rosso was a general officer. And she graduated right around the same time as us.
Did you know Xavier Brunson?
No.
He was there around the time that Timur Rika's family was.
There's another guy. There's a general, 2-star general, Jason Evans.
Yeah,
that was there. He's a little bit older than me, but I know Jenny Pellerito in that age group knew Jason. He's still, I mean, he's in my world, but he's a GL up there.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 or 6 generals, I think.
Yeah,
in total. Yeah, that's how crazy, Yvette Gonzalez is admiral, and that just shows you the power structure of like, what was this school made for? Let's see, is it an engineering school? We have a bunch of engineers. This school was making generals. I mean, with a great, go ahead.
Len, I'm telling you, if you go back and look at my class, 83.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the paper I sent, there were like 35 names, but I think we had 44 in our class. If you really look at the people that were in that grade, the schools that they went to and what they've done with their lives is absolutely just overtly ridiculous.
Yeah, the percentage of success rate, right?
And again, success is relative. You can be work your ass off and be a great husband, father, friend, whatever, community member, and it's successful.
Mm-hmm.
But with the I don't know, the normal daily routine success, by definition, a lot of very, very, very accomplished people.
Well, some schools, you're not going to see that percentage because we had a higher caliber of education. And then if you weren't learning in the classroom, if you weren't a real study person, you were learning by the environment. You were getting a global experience. You were seeing the world, culture, and having adventures that other kids, like when I showed back up, when I joined the Navy, I'm telling my new bosses, I'm the E1, and I'm like, yeah, we're at this disco out in Marostica, and there's like these black lights and all these models from Milan, and they're like, what? Bullshit. You're a liar. You're a liar. And I'm like, why? Because I didn't grow up in Ohio with a skateboard.
Yeah. Why would I lie? I mean, right.
Yeah. Because I didn't grow up watching BJ and the Bear, riding my skateboard to 7-Eleven. I mean, that would have been it,
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, I had a lot of stories growing up, man. My first, again, spent many years in Germany, but my first few weeks in Italy, we went to the beach. Okay, my dad's like, we're going to go to the beach. So we go to Jesolo, as everybody does. So I was 13, 14, going into my freshman year of high school. And so we're at the beach, and I go up to the top, near all the cabanas, and I'm rinsing off in the shower, and I look next to me, and there's these two, I don't know, 15, 16-year-old Italian girls washing each other off, and they're topless. And I'm like, this is good. I can live here.
Yeah,
so,
it throws you off. Because you come from a conservative environment, and all of a sudden you're like, that's not a big deal here. And then if you think, and now if you look like a weird pervert because you're trained that only weird perverts look at people on the beach, then you're kind of stuck. You're kind of just like, okay, I accept my environment. That's it.
Yeah, I am what I am. Right.
Right. But it's normal.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what, if I could, I wouldn't trade what I did, despite all the challenges with family. You had, some similar issues.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't trade any of it. It made me realize what I am, who I am. My two most prized possessions. Listen to me. My two most prized things on this earth are my two children, and that's my first job, father, husband. I've been married 31 years, the same person. Like I said, I told you the other day.
Wow.
That's a challenge in and of itself. Just getting through all the ups and downs of relationships, but.
I'm more of a stunt man. This is my third.
There you go.
Yeah, kind of. You're more a guy rides a steady course. I'm Evel Knievel. How big is the ramp? I don't know. I'm going to try to jump it. Are there sharks? I don't know.
Yeah, we're going anyway. Get a mulligan. Everybody's owed a mulligan or two. You're good.
That's how it works. What would you say, like when you came back to the States, that you realized you had been through a different experience when you were stateside again for some time?
I had a really weird I did have a really weird experience, and I'll share it real quick. My junior year, towards the end of my junior year, there was some issues with my father at work, so he kind of got shipped back to the States.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably, this is when did we graduate? When did we get out of school? June.
Yeah, usually June.
So maybe March.
Mm-hmm.
I left.
Yeah.
My father got shipped back to Fort Gordon in Augusta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So I did my last 3 months of my junior year at Hephzibah High School,
Mm-hmm.
outside of Augusta, Georgia. Wow. You talk about culture shock.
Yeah.
I mean, I went from Vicenza High School for 3 years to finishing up my junior year at Hephzibah High School. Yeah, so I managed to figure out a way to go back my senior year to Vicenza. My dad helped me get back in touch with a soldier buddy of his, and I stayed with him until he got in trouble. Then I moved in with the Spittles. So,
wow, I did not know you were going through so much, man. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. Well, they tried to kick me out. They tried to kick me back out of school after that because I didn't have a sponsor. And you know, overseas, you have, because my sponsor got kicked out. So the Spittles adopted me, if you will.
That's pretty awesome. I know that happened for a couple kids. Like they wanted to extend, but you talk about the culture shock. You know, 1 year I left school early. My mom was studying in the States, and I went to school in Kentucky.
Right.
And guess what? I was not studying. I was not doing my homework. But what I was a freshman. They put me in the 12th grade and then when I was doing the 12th grade homework, they were doing what I learned in 3rd grade in Italy.
Yeah. Well,
so that's kind of like, that's kind of, that's what it was. It's like saying the standard of education is not equal, but the standard of Vicenza, even though it didn't look like a strict, like MIT or something like that, right? It was, you were actually taking stuff in, and you might not have realized it until later.
It's funny. I was reading some of the comments on Facebook today from Mr. Klebb.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's on his wife's Facebook page, Joanna. Because people are telling him, hey, thank you for this, I did that, and he's like, well, thank you. That kind of validates being a teacher. And I don't think people realize, even if you were considered an average or even a bad teacher, you still had an impact on us, just because of the environment and the culture that was set at the school.
Yeah.
I didn't always pick the hardest teachers because my parents didn't care. They weren't there watching me. I got the easy way out through high school. I wasn't dumb. I was going to skip Hakeem's classes, and take Solomon's English classes because it was easier.
For me, it was the opposite. I would have taken Hakeem, and I get along great, so I just had an easy pass with him for some reason.
Well, no, I had him for I was on the newspaper staff and did all that with him. But as far as I never took an English class with him. I never conjugated the sentences and all that crap. But I always took Solomon's Englishes because they were easier, and I took the easy way out. I always did in high school. But I had to work through. I worked and did a lot of other stuff. But
what'd you do there? Did you work at the commissary? Did you work at the commissary? Or?
I worked at the PX and I worked at the gyms. I started working when I was 12, scoring basketball games in Heidelberg.
Oh wow!
We lived near the hospital out there, so I would go and work at the hospital at the gym at night till like 10, 11 o'clock, and scoring basketball games and sweeping up, and they'd pay me. So when I moved down to Vicenza, I was on the chain gang, working at the gyms for Tom O'Neill. Tom O'Neill at the time was a sports guy. Then I worked for Papa Bear, and they took very good care of me. They took very good care of me. They worked my ass off, but they paid me.
Oh, you figured out a way. I didn't even know there's any jobs, dude. I had no idea.
Yeah. Sometimes it wasn't necessarily above board, payments, but they paid.
Right. Well, that's nice of them. I mean, there's some people like the only job I saw there, because I get stuck there for briefly after high school, was my lifeguard instructor job. And then I get in some trouble and I had to leave the country. And
nice.
It sounds like you, sounds like me. But, it was all minor stuff by today's comparison. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My brother got kicked out.
Did he?
Yeah, he graduated and was on a plane the next day.
Wow.
Yeah. Him and some friends decided to tear up somebody's I call it a dollhouse, but it was probably a 1,000 square foot, mini house in the back of someone's yard. and him and his friends decided to trash it. So they got caught by the Carabinieri and had to go to court. And,
yeah, they were not the Pink Panther. They get caught.
No, they yeah. So anyway, he was shipped out. Whatever. They graduated on a Saturday. He was on a plane Monday.
That was interesting. I get in a lot of trouble. I don't know how much I will actually reveal on this podcast, but I will say that I did start sneaking off, hitting the bars around 13, 14. It was great. Going to discos, going to nightclubs. I was like grown up, acting like a grown up at 15, way beyond my years. It was like an acting class, I guess.
Well, you're not in jail. You're a functioning adult.
Never been. No.
Yeah.
I made it through pretty clean. I think, I joined the Navy after that, and the Navy was like the wildest. You can join a frat, be a frat boy, or you can join the Navy. And the Navy is taking you all over the world with a bunch of wild, full of testosterone, crazy people. They're smart. They're very good at what they do, but when they get in port, they're just cutting loose. Everything is because you're building stress.
When did you join the Navy? What year was that?
I joined the Navy in 87, and I get out in 93. Yeah.
Okay. My brother was in for a couple of years. He joined as well.
Well,
he graduated high school in 81 and left, and then he went to Great Lakes up in Chicago area, I guess, or Illinois. And
that's where I went too. Yeah.
Okay.
So he did a couple of years of that?
Yeah, he's out in San Francisco now, just doing what he's doing,
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
He lives near me, and he was in the Navy. That's weird. Was his ship out here? Was his ship out here or something?
No, I don't know how it ended. No, he ended up in I think he's finished in San Diego maybe, and just went north.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
That's a trip, man. Like, there's not too many Vicenza people out here. I mean, I ran into Michelle Flaherty. We hung out, had a beer, met with their parents. That was nice. I've seen Peter Ritchie over the years. I ran into Monique Verrier. I don't know if she was there when you were there.
Oh, I know. I like Monique. She's very, very interesting.
Yeah. She was. I met her and Peter at the same time. Then I'm trying to see who else I ran into out here. Can't think. It's not beeping. But I had my buddies, Mark Parkins and Kevin Merritt. They came out here to visit me. We hung out a few times, and now Kevin's going to get stationed in San Diego working for the government. So I'll go visit him. Mark comes out here to surf. So we stayed buddies. Me and my buddies stayed buddies, and there's never been the same kind of friends since. No, you're right. I mean, I went to college, and I have like 2 friends from college I keep in touch with. 2. Wow. 2. And I was there for 3 years at the one school. But high school, I got there's dozens of people I keep up with, literally. Yeah, it's because you had that. You're in a different planet with them. That's the head trip about this, man. It's like you had to engage more, you socialize more. What were you going to do? Wake up in Villaggio and stare at the couch, the government couch? You know what I mean? Or you're going to go play some basketball. You were going to go to the post. You were going to look for a game on post. Like I said, go bowling, go to a teen club dance, see who's lighting something on fire out in the field, whatever. Get a moped, No, you're right. And you always found something to do. What did you spend your time doing most of the time? I'm trying to remember. I worked, on occasion. Just running, just doing. I spent a lot of time at the gyms, playing basketball, running around, hanging out with, I'm thinking, after school, there was always sports going on. So I was at practice doing something there. But summers I worked, I worked one summer at the bakery. The other summers I worked 5 summers at the chain gang. Okay. Doing softball fields, soccer fields, football fields, marking them. But I worked, again, I had to kind of fend for myself a lot of times. You try to figure out where I was going to get stuff from. And, but yeah, it was always something to do. I never found myself bored, whether it's just walking around, cutting through, the back farmer fields, going to Villaggio to post and or going downtown and, just hanging out and doing whatever you do downtown. You sound kind of like my dad. He was always looking for a sport. He was craving a sport. Summertime was crazy to him. He's like, maybe I'll go coach these GIs. He needed to coach somebody. I mean, really, because that 3 months off for summer for a teacher's time, he needed to coach. He's like, Okay, what's going on? Oh, there's a baton running team. I mean, I'm just making it something abstract. Oh, the badminton team. Who's winning? You
Well,
know?
I just think that, but yeah, it's kind of like now, I'm watching cornhole because there's nothing else to watch.
Hmm.
But no, during the summer there was softball was big, the Army softball leagues. So there was, we'd spend the mornings getting the fields ready, then we'd be there at night because we have to redo the fields in between the games. So
Over by the tennis courts, right? Over by the tennis courts there.
No, this was back. There were what was called the lighted ball field.
Hmm.
If you come in the main gate,
I think it's next to tennis courts.
it was maybe tennis courts now, but it was maybe about a quarter mile up on the right behind where my father worked in the signal company right there, 54 Signal.
Yeah, you go right. You go down that road a bit, and then it curves out, and there's the that's
the ball
the same
field
place.
ball field back there, and that's where we did the I forgot the name of the burgers they used to sell back there.
Booster Burgers.
Burgers. There you go. Yeah.
Right.
But
there was a pitcher named Bo. That's all I remember. He had the fastest underhand. I don't remember his last name, Bo.
Oh, wait a minute, I do. His son was he was in school with us. Bo Rundles. Is it Rundles?
Could have been.
Black. Was he black or white?
I think it was a big white guy. Kind of remind me like the kind of guy that would play the character of Porky's or something in a movie.
Yeah, it was Bo. There was two though. There was another one, but I know his son was a little bit younger. But
high speed softball, like underhand, like 80 mile an hour.
The fast pitch. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but my father officiated. That's what So he was doing that, and I was there at night, hanging out, doing the marking fields between games, and it was a family affair.
I did not realize how much we had that in common. I was just like, oh, he's just out being a prom king or something. No, you were out there working, taking care of the field, and
hey,
you couldn't have gotten too much mischief. It sounds like you were busy all the time. If you're busy,
well, that was part of my plan. Stay busy.
Right.
Boredom, as breeds a lot of things.
Oh, it does. Well, what was the goal? You worked. What did you want to buy with your money? It was either a skateboard or it was a big boom box. And boom boxes were our thing back then with the guitar straps. Mm-hmm. Remember that? Boom boxes. That's where summer hire money didn't get spent. That or a moped, right?
Well, I know we used to hang out at the little was it the church there by the sports bar, in between Bellagio and Post. Bring our boom boxes there and hang out with Italians and talk about shit.
That was a good place to drink beers. I think Art King and I had a few beers over there in the churchyard. Yeah. It was on the way when you're walking. We were walking before you walk over the train tracks. It's that wall.
Yeah.
You come around the back. Yeah.
And it's funny, as I got older, some of my friend groups changed. But like when I was younger, hung out with like Gabriel Garcia for a lot, which was interesting. He was a very, very interesting guy. And people like that. And then I, hung out with Crenshaw the whole time. But as I got older, like Ralph Griffin, I don't know if you remember Ralph. Ralph and I
remember Ralph.
It's funny because we come from different worlds. Both, he was who he was and I was who I was. We spent more time together than anybody else when he was there. I mean, he was at my house a lot. I was with him. And then when Bobby and Davis showed up, and there was another guy, Doherty. David,
yeah. I talked to his brother, David.
But he came out after he graduated, he was there.
Yeah, the older Doherty brother. Unfortunately, he passed on.
Did he really?
I think he's a special forces helicopter guy. Is what I got.
Oh shit! I'm telling you, that was a weird year because every time I was home, I would hang out with him and Crenshaw and Bobby Davis, and we did more over that summer than I ever did in my life. We would be sitting around somewhere just hanging out, 9 o'clock at night. Hey, you want to go to Venice? Let's go to Venice. We'd go jump on a train, be in Venice by 10:30, hang out all night, square, jump on a train, come back home the next day. I mean, that was our summer. It was odd. Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Doherty liked to push the envelope. He was experiential. He wanted to do the maximum. Because I remember him talking and hanging out. I went over to his house over there. I think he lived out Grisignano.
Paul.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, it was Paul Doherty.
Yeah.
Paul Doherty. He was going to play football too in that league that you were coaching and with Bobby. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. Boy.
And then I talked to his brother. His brother lives up in Wyoming. And my buddy Mark Parkins just hung out with him. And
Mark.
we only knew his brother for a brief moment. Then he went back to Saudi Arabia because his dad was training special, like a Blackwater type company back in the day, private contractor kind of thing. But it might have been sanctioned by the government because he had an ID card. So I don't know. But that could have been through the VA. That could have been through a lot of things. But he went there and they went back and went to, all these different schools. And he's like surprised that me and Mark reached out because we only hung out with him for like 4 or 5 months, but he made such a big impact on us. We're like,
no kidding.
You're fun, dude. And so he did come back one summer with his friend from Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia. And his friend he's like, money. Ha ha ha. It's like this guy was a marble layer. The guy had, equivalent to 6 figures in the 80s, like what?
Wow.
Oh yeah, 20 hot dogs for everybody. And they didn't buy hot dogs. Of course.
Wow. No hot dogs.
You saw the slip there.
Yeah. That's good though. I mean, my daughter was born in Vicenza, my youngest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We were there from 99 to 2000, but, a couple years. And, she was born downtown, the hospital. So she's a Daniela. She's a.
Oh, nice.
That's my little baby. So yeah, she just turned 21 last week.
Wow.
Just had her first drink,
Wow.
Sure.
Right on. So you're like, so where were you living in Vicenza when you went back in '99?
I lived in little small town, Monte Galda, which was, I don't know even where it was, maybe 15 minutes out, I think west of the Post, Pest Camisano. But yeah, there were still people there. That was in like at 99, 2000. Still friends there from high school that I ran into. I don't remember, right now. And I still have friends from there that are there now that I.
Well, Johnny Kohut's always going back. I ran into
he's always around.
I met with Michelle's parents, the Flahertys. They're still there. They still live there the whole time. And I talked to my friend Ken too, who worked at SCB. He was an Army guy. He worked there doing the TV stuff, and I went there.
Ken who? Wait, Ken who?
Ken too.
Ken.
Last name's Ken too.
I'm trying to think. Okay, no, there was a heavy-set black dude when I was there. His name was Ken. That's why I was wondering. He worked there too. He's one that introduced us to the Sugar Hill Gang.
The Sugar Hill Gang. I get all into that. Rapper's Delight, right?
Yeah, he introduced
Raul Cantu. That was my buddy that worked at SCB.
No, that's not familiar. That's funny.
The Sugar Hill Gang. You had a boombox. Do you remember your boombox? What kind did you have, man?
Yeah, I don't remember, man. My brother had one. He was more into the music than I was. But
I loved it. We're just shoving music in our ears. Now I'm like, turn it down, man. Please turn it down. Yeah. Now I'm that guy. I'm like, what happened? Right?
You're the old guy. Yeah.
It's strange how that it just changes positions,
Turn into your parents. I know. Yeah.
Well,
speaking of that, how's your mom doing?
She's hanging in there, man. She's keeping busy. I mean, we're not trying to bring anything around her. I would have thought about traveling out there during this time, but it's not a good time.
Where is she?
Cape Cod.
Oh, okay.
It's a nice place. She Airbnbs her house out sometimes. She has extra room she rents out. It's a beautiful area and lots of beaches. Really good getaway place.
Yeah, we got family. My wife's got family up there in that area. Boston, so it's not close.
Boston?
Yeah, outside Boston. So
my brother lives up there. You guys should hook up next time you're up there. Enjoy it.
It's a neat area. I just can't afford to live there. I don't like the winters.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You ended up in Alabama. Is that where your family's from, or is that where?
No, I have zero ties to Alabama. I was in Germany. I had a 5th grader and a kindergartner, 4th grader. We're coming back. I said, I got to get back to the States. We'd been there for 8 years. So I just started job hunting, and this thing popped up, and I applied for it and interviewed and got offered and moved here. Wasn't planning on staying, but that was late summer of 2005.
Wow.
So I'm coming up on 15 years, and this is the second home that we bought since we've been here. We had a bigger house down in the burbs, and sold that and moved downtown in a little smaller, half the size house. But
saves on the electricity, man. I mean,
it does. Not on the mortgage because location.
Right.
But the kids are theoretically moved out, but not in reality because
never.
I still have there's no college. She's been home for 6 months because this COVID mess. So she's been home since April.
Yeah.
No,
There's not much to do. Like if
March, 4 months.
that's the thing, man. What's going to happen with college? Zoom. We're going to charge you $44,000 a year for Harvard Zoom. I don't think so, man.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? No.
Yeah, we got to pay
I'll buy
tuition
this course for $199. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, well, what she just found out, my daughter, she's a junior this year at Alabama. It's she's got 5 classes, 4 of them are online. So she'll has to live there. I mean, she's got an apartment. But yeah, she'll be paying full. We'll pay full tuition. We'll pay full room and board, all of it. But 4 of her 5 classes are online. One she has to go to class.
My buddy's like daughter's staying in San Diego. He's paying her rent like $2,500 a month from up here working in real estate. I'm like, dude, that's rough. Yeah. I'm like, is it that education? If you add that plus the cost of the college, well, I need my, hey, at some point, the tough part is you got to keep a job and get internships while you're in college. Because if you don't, that's just a piece of paper. And because the first thing you'll run into in HR is, guess what, man? You don't have any years of experience of doing anything. So
yes,
you're going to have a thing in some kind of communications degree, and recruiting day will happen around the college, and an insurance company will offer you a job at entry level, and you never needed a degree for it in the first place. And you're wondering why you get this degree, and you're starting to think, I'll be a more intellectual insurance salesman. Right?
Yeah, you're 150 grand in debt, and making $32,000 a year.
It's pretty ironic how that works. And with online, they should be cutting the prices. What were you paying the Prestige to walk by this fancy library?
Well, yeah, you'd think. Like I heard something on the radio the other day that USC is going full online. They're like $75,000 a year. Who the hell's going to pay that?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah. What do you sell me? Pay-per-view?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, UFC, it's only $79, but hey, if you want to go to college, it's $75,000 for pay-per-view.
Exactly.
Right. Talk about an overpriced television show.
Yeah, no shit. It's a mess right now. I said I work for the Army, and we're way downsized right now.
I bet.
I couldn't imagine what's going on overseas. I mean, imagine being in Germany or Italy and locked down.
My friend was in charge of port operations for the Navy in Naples and Dubai and Spain, and or Abu Dhabi, one of those places over in the Middle East. Bahrain could have been. Yeah. Anyways, he was in charge of port operations, which is a pretty serious job. It's like landing all the aircrafts, all the ships, like all that stuff, making sure there's openings and a lot of all that goes with it. Now he's in Hawaii, and we were on the same ship together, but he became a chief, like a master sergeant, and he had these skills that translate that you could only get in his job, the hands-on and mixed with the intellectual to get that type of GS 13, 15 job, whatever he has. But he's in Hawaii. He's like, nobody's here. Nobody's flying in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is the base? I mean, can you go on base? Is the exchange closed? I mean, what's the operation?
No, all those things are open. We have about 44,000 people that work out here on Redstone, and we're getting about 10 to 12,000, 15,000 right now.
Wow.
So we're about 20, 25%.
It's like going on post when you were a kid in Vicenza and the whole school went on a trip or a field trip and a game, and you're not on the team and you're not on the field trip, and it's you on the North 40 with the Frisbee and yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's strange. You're right.
So I'm sure you've hung out with the Spittles. I mean, especially if they adopted you. Do you move back with them, try to have them adopt you again, or?
They won't. Well, I wish Teddy would. He can afford it now.
Yeah.
So no, I do. I keep in touch with them. Jack's down in Florida. They, unfortunately, Carol passed away several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But Jack's down in Florida, get remarried, but yeah, Teddy and Marcos live. They're like probably 20 miles apart, up in Northern Virginia. I think Teddy lives in Dumfries, and Marcos is 2 X's down 95.
That's a trip.
So they hang out quite a bit.
I could have ended up there, but I'll tell you that story after. Go on with what you were
Yeah,
saying.
we all could have. No, I meant to say we saw James Greenwell a few years ago. Went to his place,
Mm-hmm.
visited him, and he's done really well for himself. Very,
Oh yeah,
very, very
he's
well.
a good
Very well
guy.
for himself. Yeah.
He,
Old tank.
he and I have this thing. My dad bought me these white on white pony sneakers. I was a freshman. So I was class 86. I was 3 years younger than you. So we were probably on the same football team that year. I think we were actually. And Tank offered to buy my shoes, or he wanted to use them. And I said, okay, buddy, or whatever. I said, go ahead and use them for this game. I'm not going to play anyways. I'm on the bench. So we ended up doing a trade. He had some older ones that were cool and some money, and it was nice. But he put those on, these white on white ponies, these cleats, and he actually was on the line, and he caught a pass, and he ran for a touchdown.
That's got to be the shoes. Come on.
It was the shoes, man. I mean, you had to believe it was the shoes. I mean,
absolutely.
He was certainly not lined up for running back material. Huh? Good.
Yeah. You've seen like Mike. It's got to be the shoes.
It has to be.
Yeah. James Greenwell wasn't known for his speed, so let's just put it that way.
Well, the other irony is this. This is a weird thing. Why do I have this shoe thing with James Greenwell? I was going into Boy Scouts with him, and he sold me some really nice hiking boots, like alpine hiking boots, because we were going hiking and stuff. So I don't know why we were selling each other shoes.
It's kind of a fetish. That's weird. It's okay.
It's a weird thing. Like, we sold each other shoes, bro. I mean, I don't know what that means.
I did throw a shoe at James one day.
Did you?
A pair of cleats in the locker room. Yeah. kind of lost my temper with him. Yeah, I remember that. I'm sure he does too.
You know what's crazy? Some of us left there mad at a few people, some bully, someone when I'll show you one day. But then you find out the backstory of whatever hell they were going through, and then you have empathy. And then you realize it was never personal. It's not like business, like, no, that was business, this is personal. Yeah. It was just because you're under the influence of these stressful circumstances. You might have had
Well, I would tell you, it's funny if you say that, because I had what was this, 2020? Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, 3 years ago. I losing track of time. I remember when I was in high school, I got one of my classmates, Scott Maservi. I was, being Billy Badass. And, he had said something to me, and I had to man up. So in front of a crowd of people, I backed him up against the wall and I slapped him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm, I was a dick. I was a dick, obviously. Yeah, I actually contacted him and apologized.
It's like that. Happy Gilmore. What was that movie?
Yeah.
What was the movie where he calls the guy, Adam Sandler, the guy's putting lipstick on his face on the couch?
Yeah. Right? Yeah. But I felt bad. I was like, come on, why did I have to do that? Why? And he's like, what are you talking about? No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm like, well, good. Thank you. That's off my conscience. But still, I mean, come on. There's a lot of that went on. Unnecessarily.
There was you know what? I analyze stuff to death. It's just because I want to understand my brain. And I looked at it like this. If you had a parent putting pressure on you, or you wanted social acceptance and you didn't know how to go about it, or you were meeting resistance because someone else's dad said they want him to be the captain of the football team, so 3 guys show up, and all of a sudden they don't get along, and maybe one day they get along or whatever, but there's competition in some people, or some guys having a tough home life, somebody's living couch to house like you. Nobody knows the backstory of what's going on with this kid. And, someone might have some parents that drank too much, and they're showing up all twisted at school. And then, like, here's a guy going through divorce battles at home, and here's a guy showing up from alcoholic parents, and here's a guy showing up from, you better be the boss. And they, and it's like you got set up, unbeknownst to any of us.
Right. No, absolutely. And when we get off this, I'll talk to you one day about some of the stuff that I went through. I don't want to advertise to the world, but
I'm keeping it on the level with this. This is here. Yeah, I'll definitely talk to you for sure.
But no, because I've shared some things that I went through that I didn't share with people.
Right.
I've shared with my wife. But there's some things that I went through that people just didn't need to know.
Well, it's like this. I'm not trying to keep my facade of what's going on. You know what I mean? It's like, I've learned the more empathetic and understanding side of things. Didn't always have it. I had some beef at some people. I don't even remember their names. And I was talking to my best friend from high school, Mark, and he really illustrated this to me well. And I don't want to repeat this in every podcast I do, but I'm going to get other people on here. We'll all talk and we'll meet other people. It'll be fun, like Teddy and us. And I appreciate you showing up for this.
No, this is good, man. I'm enjoying this.
The thing is that I felt, I don't know, I was trying to be cool. My friend said, here's your problem. Because we didn't have Twitter, so you couldn't manage the analytics of what your social status was. He says, you were trying to be so cool. You became so cool that you alienated some people and you made them feel insecure or jealous. And that's why they didn't like you. I go, shoot, all I was aiming for was social acceptance. But I went past cool. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't even think I got to cool.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I went past it. I'm like, yeah, over the cliff. I wasn't even in it. I was like, where the hell is cool at, man? These jeans not tight enough? What about these high tops?
Unfortunately, you don't. You but you can't see it yourself. That's the problem. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Does that hit you right there? You're like, whoa, that's deep.
Well, yeah. You think back, it's all put in perspective. Like, wow, that was dumb.
Well, now I know better. There's nobody.
Right.
There's nobody that I ran into a friend that I knew in school, and he used to get drunk and sucker punch people. And when I met him, he was the nicest grown-up man. And we had dinner, and it was just a gentleman was just happy to see my friend, my brotherhood of Italy. It was
Did
so
he punch
different.
you? Did he punch you?
Nah.
He didn't punch you? Good.
Wasn't going to, but I wasn't really worried about it, But I knew that like what we remember in our brain and what transpires since then, and what one person forgets and another person's holding on to a moment, it made a hard mark under like tape,
Hey, Lenny, I was going to share something with you. I just kind of remembered. You asked who I've seen. Kira, Kira Reed?
Yeah. Works at NASA over there or something?
Yeah, well, it's not right now, but I tell you, just real quick, I was downtown 5 or 6 years ago, 8 years ago, with my wife and a couple other friends, and we went to Sam and Greg's, which is a new pizzeria, and they had gelato in there. Mm-hmm. And the girl behind the counter was serving the gelato, and I said something, to my wife about it, and I said, "Well, I hope it's good." And I meant, and I said the word Italy, and the person behind the counter said, "Oh, I was in Italy." It was Sam Reed. It was Samantha Reed. It was Kira's sister. She said, "Yeah, I know. You know a guy named Teddy Spittle?" I was like, "Yeah, kind of."
Mm-hmm. We got to give props to Teddy. We got to give props to Teddy. I mean,
his
website.
He said,
yeah.
No, but she opened up, and it's a very successful restaurant now. And it's done very well. But I was like, yeah, I know Teddy Spittle. And then I realized on Facebook that her sister's here as well. I don't really know her, but we're Facebook friends. But
you could have got half off on that gelato. Damn.
Yeah, no, it's charged me double because I knew Teddy.
Teddy Spittle.
Yeah.
That's why there's no listing on the prices. Charge him double. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Teddy did his best. I used to, it's funny. You would think when you're looking back, I'm a big, I was in real estate myself for many years, and I had some really great years and went through a lot of experiences and went far beyond my imagination. Then I get out of it when the market crashed and never went and looked at it again. And it's weird because I saw Teddy doing this high school and this website thing. I'm like, why are you holding on to Vicenza? And then I get older, and then it became more important to me because I saw my memory slipping.
Yeah.
And then I said, what about understanding yourself and understanding the people that you knew and people that were in the same kind of spaceship you were, which was the USS Italy, flying over there.
Yeah.
Eating margarita pizzas for 500 or 1,500 lira or whatever. And
right.
Or if you had different friends, maybe they might have borrowed a Cinquecento for free off the street or whatever.
For free, maybe, hypothetically speaking.
Free lender, before there was e-bikes, there was like e-Cinquecentos. People would just borrow them off the road.
Yeah, well, plus none of us ever took mopeds from outside of bars. That would never happen.
Never. I was having moped fever last night. I was looking at those electric bikes. I'm going, maybe I'll get a moped.
There you go.
I could buy a
It's funny.
motorcycle for half the price of one of those things, but you know,
Whew. Yeah,
I'm
no
gonna stay
shit.
up with that. This is awesome. So who else would you like to see on the cast? We want to get some other people with us, you know?
I mean, you know, somebody that's got a John Bonamega, man. He's done extremely well with his football career. He's a special teams coach for the Los Angeles Rams right now.
Oh yeah. I've talked to him quite a bit. Actually,
Yeah, so he's out in LA now.
yeah, I just saw that. I go, oh, I'm gonna hit him up.
Yeah. What
We'll
about
meet
him?
up.
You know, obviously, you know, someone like Teddy, but you know, Jenny Pellerito's up in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's got history there with her dad as a teacher, and you know, hell, Johnny Kohut, man, he's still around.
He's still rocking. I saw him at a
Yeah.
reunion. He is the reunion ambassador.
Yeah.
I
And
wanted to do this. Go ahead.
You know, think about like Rich Collins, who
Yeah.
stayed in Verona. You know, Dan Frigo. My God, look at
Right.
Frigo, man. He's like the president of Disney now. You know?
Oh wow, yeah, that's true, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of interesting people can you get from your high school? Oh, the president of Disney, the producer of X, the general, the president.
Yeah.
You know?
Hell, look. I mean, Jim Cavoli. Jim is you know, business wise and family wise, extremely successful.
Yeah.
No surprise there. You know.
No. Regimented.
But
It's
hell,
expected.
Art King, man. I ran into Art King about 10 years ago, and didn't even know he lived here. And I'm walking by, and I see some weird ass dude sitting outside a cafe playing guitar. I'm like, look at this jackass. Who is this? Not kidding. It was Art King.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've stayed in touch since then.
He's a good guy. I talked to him a couple times. I like Art.
Yeah.
We used to party together. It's funny, like people when they're talking, I'd say an average American is talking about, we used to party together. They're talking about college. A lot of Vicenza people, let's let the cat out of the bag. Our kids will never know what it's like to go to a bar when you're 13 or 14. They'll never know what that is.
Legally.
Legally. Yeah.
Yeah.
They won't know that. Now Italian kids do it more. My Italian friend said the Italian kids are starting to do what we did in high school, kind of forbiddenly, but back then they didn't do it at all. Like I'd hang out with my Italian buddy. I go, here, have some vino. He's like, oh, it tastes horrible. And I'm like, come on, it's amazing. It was funny.
Just drink it fast.
Well, I don't drink that often anymore, but I had my great memories and adventures and Italian discos and you name it, dude. I mean, just taking off.
Oh yeah. Well, I have to. I do all that moderately. You know, just because I have to.
Right.
But I'm not afraid of the drink.
No, of course not. You're in Alabama. It's customary, right? So some of those people like Art King, Frigos, there's some folks we got to get on here. And I liked having a little bit of age difference. I'm just like kind of like there's a few people like me that was there their whole life. The Millers were there a long time. You know, Bobby and Troy Miller and the sisters.
I've
Denise.
I've gotten with Denise the last year or so
Gina.
on Messenger just to say hey, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm in touch with people on Facebook more than anything. But as far as personal contact, I mean, I stay in touch with like Gina Lewis. She's out in Arizona, married, doing her thing out there.
I was trying to remember who was in your class. Like who was your class?
Well, it was like Chris Cavoli, David Austin, Cinzia, Paolo, Nancy Generelli, Crenshaw, Delwyn Jones, Frank Rosario.
I talked to his brother.
Franca. Yeah, Frank passed away, 4 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And it was really sad because I had contacted him and he was visiting his daughter in Memphis. I was like, I'm going to come out to see you in a few weeks, man, and plan on a visit. And I couldn't make it. A month later, he passed away.
That's how it happens. We like ships in the night, but be glad you get that time at Vicenza together. You know?
Yeah, I felt like, you know what, I should have just made my way there. Should have figured it out. It was a 5-hour drive. You know?
Oh, I get it. You know, and waiting for the reunion, we got Zoom. I did these with my sailor buddies. These things have become amazing, and you'll trip out when you watch this again later. You think, I'm not going to watch myself, but you go back and watch how it tricks your brain, like what you pull out of here. It blows me away because like I don't show up here with an agenda. I do it when I do the sports stuff. I have an agenda. This I do, I freestyle. I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, to me, it's about talking to people about their experience. Like, what did you go do for lunch? I went and get a hard bread panino with some cheese and salami and crunch that thing. They didn't have burgers. We didn't have 7-Eleven. We had a tabacaria, you know. You might have a Mars bar or an orangiata or a pizza or a tortellini, you know. It was a fun.
No, you're right. It's a very, very different experience. Very different experience.
What was it like in 99 to 2000 or 2001 you were there?
It was, you know, that's really funny because all the shit that I did for 5 years when I was there, to go back, that's 84, 94, to go back 15 years, 18 years later as an adult with a job on post, looking at the same stuff that I looked at as a kid, it was, you know, people use the word surreal a lot, but it was absolutely surreal. It was like going back in time, but being invisible. Yeah. You know, Mr. Cosell, I worked on the WR. Mr. Cosell worked at the arts and crafts shop part-time to keep his ID card and gas coupons. So I'd see Cosell, you know, 3 times a week. You know, and here I'm what was that in 2000? So I was 35, 30. Wow. 65. Yeah.
You're only 49 now, so that's cool.
Yeah, ish. Yeah. So, but yeah, I saw him, and I, you know, like, you know, Zabork was still around. A lot of the teachers were still there. You know, and I went through the school a few times. I didn't hang out. You know, it's not a good thing to be hanging out at high school. But I hung out at the gym a lot. I worked out at the gym all the time. That was where, you know, same place. But yeah, it was strange. Went to Bellagio a few times. You know, things had moved. You know, the school was set up different. The pool was set up different. Just going there as an adult. Was just
Was it like your job now? Were you MWR guy over there, or?
Yeah, but a different level. Yeah.
Now, was that in charge of like all the skis, like when I was a kid, like all the ski rentals and all the
right? Usually MWR stuff is going to be all of your trips and your gyms and your childcare and your libraries and that kind of stuff. Yeah, and that's the same thing. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was, but it was different. It was and I wanted to stay. Just the job prospects were not as good there as they were. You know, so I went from there to Heidelberg after a couple of years. Which was also weird because I spent 8 years in Heidelberg as a kid. So going back there as an adult was strange. So.
Well, I think if I saw the North 40 today, which is probably about the North 3 or 4 or North 1, because they built it all over, right? They built the North 40 over.
Yes, they have. Yeah.
That field seemed so immense when I was a kid, and I'd see parachuters just diving on it. You know, paratroopers coming out of the sky, jumping out of Hueys over on the base.
When was the last time you were there?
I was there when I was 19 or 20. I came back a year after I was in the Navy.
Yeah. Okay, no, they built a football field, a track, with bleachers, and they've
a lot of the
units are built up, and so there's not a lot of North 40 left.
No, and the North 40 was so special. It was like the civilian thing in the middle of the military for some reason.
Yeah, and they built up it used to be Dalmalin, but Daldin. There's a whole brigade. I think there's a brigade out there.
Wow.
So yeah, it's strange. I know the MWR director there. I met him at a conference. We buddied up and drank a lot. So
that's pretty cool. So do you have hookups at all on the military hotels? It's Derrick, I'm coming in.
Yeah, they say
give me the average room at the average price.
It's the same as everybody else, exactly.
Well, you're not a general, and that doesn't matter either because that's the price.
Correct.
That's pretty cool, dude. So you're gonna just stick it out till you're like 90, like Bob Baird?
No, I'm gonna
remember Bob Baird?
Oh, I know that name.
He had the white hair. He used to teach skiing. He played a lot of tennis. Older guy on the base. Always had a young girlfriend. Right. He was probably like 65. He was kind of.
That's funny.
It's a very great guy.
As I look back, and the folks that like Jenny Diener, who has found her way, man. She's living on the beach. She's doing it right. Her dad was what I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was the morale support activities director, what it was called. And I'm looking back going, Jesus, that just guy seems so old.
Right.
And now I'm the old guy.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I haven't reached that point in my head where I've accepted it. I don't.
Yeah, no, I haven't either. I still act like a 14-year-old. So yeah.
Well, that's the thing. And plus you get the worldly view. I think that's the greatest thing that we all got from it is you get to travel around Europe. You get to travel and see different cultures and different foods and different music and different experiences and different booze and different vacation spots that you would not have seen unless you were uber wealthy here. I mean,
I'll tell you, we made a mistake that I would make again 1,000 times over. We were there from 97 to 05 with our kids, and we didn't save a dime. We traveled.
Yeah.
We traveled as much as we could. You know, they saw everything we could get them to see. You know, we came back to the States like, oh, you want a down payment? Wait, what? What is this word? What is this word? But you know, but no, we used our money. We traveled. I wouldn't trade it.
You can't take it with you.
Yeah,
you can't take it with you.
I may have traded maybe a little bit, but you know.
Right. Well, there's no taking. There's nowhere to put it. Right. I mean, you think you can. It's like I've seen people retire, like my friend's parents. I know they're not from Vicenza, but they lived in this town in California. They sold their house. They go to Arizona. They go from a 1,500 square foot house, and they go, you know what we need? We need this 4,900 square foot home. You're going to move back with us, and all this other stuff that's not true, right?
Yeah.
No, so here's mom and dad with a gymnasium of a house. Yeah. I mean, imagine the AC and the electric bills on that big son of a gun. So
I'm telling you, we went from a 3,200 square foot house, which is not big, but to 1750, 1 story house downtown. You know. So,
location.
Yeah.
It's how you live. It's the stuff. I've moved so much in my life. I've probably moved 49 times in my life, man.
Yeah.
The stuff I've had stuff. I've had houses. I've had things. And they just vanish. I don't remember where that cool Peugeot bicycle from the PX is anymore.
Right. It's just stuff.
You know. Yeah. Yeah. So it's about how you live. And I think that's what you get from Italy is you get to travel. You get to see the world. And when I come back here and I'd be in some, you know, successfully wealthy area, people talking, oh, we went to Milano and then we went to Venezia. I'm like, yeah, 75
You know, it's funny.
times.
When I was over there as a adult, if you will, I used to be a whole lot into cycling a lot. I still ride, but not as much. So I was with some friends and we went to a couple of the tour stops at the Tour de France. So we're just sitting around, just waiting for them, you know, them to come through, and we're meeting people that's their annual vacation. Like they're spending, you know, $10,000 to $12,000 to go spend a week and a half in France and Germany to watch the tour.
Right.
And you know, we spent like $14 in gas.
Right.
You know, to be at the same place they're at.
Well, that was the thing about the Venice. Oh yeah, okay, I go to Venice. I'm in the square. Okay, I go home. I'm in Venice. I see the square. That was 800 lira or 1,500 lira ticket.
Or free if you jumped on the train and didn't get caught. You know.
Right. Hid in the bathroom with your 4 buddies.
Sure.
You know.
Right.
Yeah, that was always a good one. I mean, that's the stuff that you wouldn't get if you were here, and then you can't get it. No one's really has the motivation to go live that life right now because they're digitally. They're in the pod, like in the Matrix #2 when people were in pods and they were just feeding them. Like our world has changed. So we were lucky to live AR, actual reality, not VR, not virtual.
Not the virtual. Yeah.
And it's like
it was Lenny, and you know, you spent more time there than I did. It's a very unique experience that you can't explain. You know, that's why. And I hope people will listen to this and get involved in this because you can explain it. Yeah. And it really is a small group, you know, whether it's the folks from Vicenza or Naples or Bitburg or, you know, Camp Zama.
Sure.
Their experience is similar, but different.
It's, you know, it's like people are like, yeah, my dad had a Mercedes, but in the States we were driving a Maverick. I don't know how it was.
Yeah.
Because the Mercedes cost as much as Fiats in Germany.
Yeah, I drove
So
I drove 4 BMWs when I was over there. Now I can't afford it.
well, you would have been a baller. That's like I was trying to get a
Yeah.
job at Burger King. I would have been able to afford.
Yeah.
There was a Burger King on post. I was going to work there, but I wore my dad's suit and they didn't hire me because I was overdressed. And they knew who I was from all the crazy bar talk and trouble I'd get into.
Yeah.
So, that never happened. But I was like, oh, yeah, I'll buy, when you were walking off post, as you're going towards the front gate, there's that little place where all the used cars would be sitting. Over the right-hand side, people would be trying to sell their cars, that little parking lot.
Sure.
Just before you hook down and make it right to SEB and the water tower and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that place, I'd see a Fiat Dino, which is a Ferrari. Oh, and I saw a Pantera. I mean, cars that I wish I would have bought, but didn't have the money. Wasn't going to buy it on my allowance. Couldn't bring them back here.
Well, I tell you what was neat for me was when I was in Munich for my freshman year. After I graduated, I was 18, 19 years old. I had a driver's license. So when I was back in town, I could drive people around. Like I drove the Spittles cars. They let me drive.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember Sam Sikoris, who worked at MWR, by the way, for like 40 years and retired a couple years ago. Sam was one of the youth center directors over there. And he let me drive his, remember the old BMW 2002s?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing was a badass.
That was like the one, if it was the TII, the fast one, yeah, that was like, the M3 of the slower car days. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, it was neat being able to drive because when I was in high school, you couldn't. But
mopeds.
I was there for an extra year.
Yeah.
But sort of.
You ever do that thing on the mopeds with the bicycle where you put your hand on the guy's shoulder and everybody tows you?
Oh yeah. We also, I tell you what, we go up to Monteberco and ride hang out with the Italians and ride their Vespas.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You talk about a machine that's too fast for the weight.
Yeah.
Oh, those things are dangerous, but that's why they're fun.
That was their hot rod. We had Trans Ams when you were 16 in the States.
Yeah, this thing's weighed about 30 pounds, but they go 70 miles an hour.
Oh, they would put bigger carburetors. They did a lot to them. Actually, David Doherty souped my moped up to go about 10, 15 miles an hour faster, just with a small move. That's why I always remembered him. Like, thanks, man. Like I couldn't afford all the kit, but it was great. And it was nice to talk to him. And it's like, but the weird part is when you meet up with people, hopefully we meet you in a good place wherever you are, and sometimes we're going to meet people because there's so many of us and so many obstacles, and the COVID shit's just been horrible.
Did you ever make it out east? You ever come out this way?
I come out to Boston, but I might come out that way. Come out and see you and Art King. Yeah, I'm not locked down. There's a lot of you guys over there. It's like everybody has to usually do a reunion. I'm like, no, just go. Yeah, that's kind of how it is.
Yeah, you get through this COVID shit.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Start doing some things that mean something.
I'll just build the studio in your house, the big podcast studio. And coming to you live, it's Derrick Gould, Wolfman Jack, 1945. Yeah, right.
Well, look, I'm sitting out back, and it's dark. It's dark now. But
yeah, it's been a good run, man. This has gone even longer than I thought, because I'm just curious as what you were going to say, but I don't want to make it run too long because we can always have you back.
No, I'm good. I'd like to be involved in this, man. This is. Look, you talk about a place and a time that impacts your life for the rest of your life. That was it.
Right.
Really, I mean, the people I met there, I'm still friends with, and I'd take a bullet for most of them. Not all.
Some, most.
I'd put a bullet in some. But,
well, the part about this is that this is reconnection. When I was a kid, I fantasized about this kind of technology because my friends, because I lived there from age 5 to 19. And I'd have a friend, let's just say like Doherty, he disappeared to the Middle East. There's no phone. I'm not going to call the Middle East from my dad's PE teacher phone. It was like $15, $20 a minute, and you didn't know who to dial and different prefixes. It was so complicated. Right. And now, like, you have television in your hand, and here you are. Matter of fact, even those news trucks are worthless with the big satellite on them.
Yeah, you don't need them anymore.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding.
Too much.
But hey, I'll share some stories one of these days where we're not public. But yeah, it was. I had some interesting times with your father.
Oh, I'm sure you did. It's all good though, man.
It's all good. Honestly.
I'll be interested to hear those. We will talk about those soon. And it's like, that's the thing for me. I'm not here because, I'm the coach's son. What he did was really important to a lot of people. He did piss some people off, like you or other people, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Butted heads. He was not easy all the way. Some people it just flowed. Some people it didn't. Just depends. And same with every teacher and every parent. Not everybody get along. Like I said, you never knew what everybody was going through until you look back and like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why he was yeah. It all makes sense now.
Well, I don't know. It's like, John's like, yeah, he was great. And I'm like, then I'll hear someone else and he'll be mad. And it's like, it's all different stories. It's like,
but you know what? Your side of the story matters. You've seen the Joker, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen, his side of the story matters.
Right. Right.
For 50 years, the Joker's been the asshole.
Right.
Well, then you see what he went through with Batman and his family, come on.
And you kind of understand the Joker. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, we're all, the thing is we're all human, but we're all put in this machine called the Italian experience, this actual reality. And then everything kind of had like an order, it was a very unique background. I mean, we were just military green,
Well, I was always scared to get caught doing anything because my dad, he had a job on post. He was a soldier.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get in trouble,
Was your dad an airborne guy or what?
No, he was a signals warrant officer.
Okay, warrant officer.
So he was a signal guy. So yeah, he had a very, one of these super high security clearances. So I had to be careful. There were certain countries I couldn't travel to also,
Oh, he worked in comms and coded and like cryptography kind of stuff. Okay.
Exactly. So, I had to stay out of trouble. Plus my brother didn't care.
I was a signalman in the Navy. There's parallels actually.
Okay.
It's funny. Right. But we had flags and Morse code. We weren't using the crypto radios.
And the ticker tape shit and all that.
Oh yeah. That was like, they did actually in Radio Central. That was another division. But we had other duties that were important. But it's interesting. Yeah, I get what he did. I totally understand.
Yeah,
it's like,
I mean, when I was in Vicenza in '99, 2000, there was a guy that worked in the G2 shop at the on post that worked with my dad back in the day. You remember? Yeah. So, yeah, it's a small world.
Well,
small army.
One last thing. It's funny. It's like, there was a lot of Vietnam vets that I would run into at that base, and I didn't figure this out till later. Because after all the hell they went through, people spitting on them, attacking them when they got back from Vietnam, they said, "Oh, screw it, I'm not going back to the world. I'll get stationed overseas." The politics are different, and they could never leave. And like my parents didn't want to leave Italy. It's like once you get in there, I'm actually thinking of possibly moving to Spain someday. Tenerife, actually, the island.
We've talked about trying to get a place in Italy part-time.
Yeah.
Once I decide to retire.
Have you been to Spain?
I've been to Mallorca. Never been to the continent.
If you go like Tenerife, it's an island off the Cape of Africa.
Yeah. No, I've been to the Canaries. So yeah.
Yeah, Canary Islands. Yeah.
Yeah, but I went to it wasn't Tenerife, it was one of the other ones. But yeah.
Oh, Gran Canaria. Okay, I know which one you went to. Yeah, that place is amazing. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I was renting what would be a $15 million house here in California for $113 a day.
Yeah. Well, what we figured out from, we're traveling over there, we could do a week, 4 people for a week with airfare, inclusive food, drinks, everything, for $1,200 to $1,500.
Yeah.
It'd be $5-6 grand from here.
It was hard to spend the money there, man. I mean, we went my wife and I went to the Azores. We went to Portugal. Then we went up to Seville in Spain, went to Barcelona, and then we went over to Tenerife, and that was in the last couple of years. Not too long ago. So I'm back there.
I spent a night in the Azores once, man. It was interesting.
Yeah, it's a trip, huh?
Yes.
It's like the European Hawaii.
Yeah, well, you got about a 10 square mile island. Maybe.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. Well, I drove all over. It depends what side you're on. It was pretty neat, man.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long before I get island fever and I want to hop off and get back.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't stay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I gotcha.
There's a different feeling. I've been to a lot of islands. Spain's special though, and then you can always hop over, so you can do 90 days unless you get a full-time visa.
Right.
I mean, you can rent a apartment near the beach for $500, $700.
Yeah, we've been looking at different options. Once the kids get out of school and get on their own finally.
Yeah. Well, Italy has got more expensive because they're more underwater. Tax-wise, like the broken deficit.
Or like Venice, literally.
Right. So that's why I like Spain. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just different times. Italy's great, but I could go visit it from there. The plane rides are $50, $100. They're nothing.
Right. Yeah.
They're cheap.
Yeah.
And then
absolutely.
My friend that was working there, he would go to Croatia. He'd go to Hungary, and he's like, okay, now my dollar is 13 cents on the dollar. I mean, he would live it up,
That's the way to do it, man.
So we're going to get some more people on here, guys. It was
all right.
Just me just rapping with Derrick, best looking guy in the laundromat, 3 years running Vicenza over by the pinball machine. There's a trophy.
I think I have that trophy from the laundromat, actually. Yeah.
You do? That's good. It was over, you're playing the pinball machine. That was I forgot about that. The pinball machine at the laundromat near the snack bar. Near Foodland.
Yeah, yes, I know exactly where it is.
I mean, talking about some entertainment for the day, you're really out of options, and it comes down to 6 hours on a pinball machine.
Hanging out in the laundromat playing pinball. No, absolutely.
With a secret bag of beer, with a sports bag full of beer, and a
nice
a cup from the snack bar that looks like you had.
I'll tell you just real quick, one quick story. me and Mike Hammett would buy a 12-pack of Miller High Life and go out back of the school behind the courts, back to the little huts back there, and drink and stack the beer bottles up on the roof in the grooves of the tin roof. And we thought we were so cool.
What's weird is why do we all have the same desire to end up on those roofs? Oh, you could hop on that cement thing and you're on the roof.
Yeah. We're like cats,
Well, that's another one for another time when Art King and I had the MPs chase us away as we were walking with cases down to school. We were headed to the huts. We didn't make it to he must have heard where to go from you. I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you're a kid and MPs are following you around. Get those kids.
Yeah. I'm glad I could mentor you guys. So it's good. So
thanks, man. I mean, thanks for those tips. As far as being old enough to buy beer, all you do is walk off base. But when I was a lifeguard, I was 15. I would just grab the NCOIC, the non-commissioned officer in charge hat, and put on some Ray-Bans and walk in. Hey, how you doing? And just walk into that little Foodland by the base. Over by the pool in Villaggio.
By the pool. Yeah.
They're like, oh, I got to tell these kids what to do. I'm like 15. That was great. Yeah. Just put on like look like a highway patrol officer or something.
Nice.
This has been awesome, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thank you so much. We're going to have more people here. Looking forward to our next guest.
Do that. Reach out if you need contacts with folks. I got a few.